Hello, I'm Matthew Brooks for MMH, the home of rock radio, and I'm here with Professor Nolan Stolz, who has a long history of writing and talking about Black Sabbath. Uh, Thank you for joining us. How are you enjoying the symposium so far?
Wonderful. Just got started. The keynote was wonderful. The session that we had for me.
Excellent. Obviously, you've spoken a lot about Black Sabbath in the past at conferences like this. Is there anything that particularly stands out about this one, or
That it's public. So many of the conferences that I go to, really academic, so the only people that are there are the ones presenting.
Yeah.
At the conference, we have 3 people. And so it's wonderful to see so many different folks that are just interested in that. People talk.
So your talk today is about the sort of non-metal elements of Black Sabbath, and there's been a lot made sort of the blues and jazz influence, particularly when it comes to the interplay between Bill and Geezer. But what sort of other things might people look for if they're looking for other influences in their music?
Well, going back to the jazz though, people will say it, but they won't really identify what is the jazz in it. And yes, definitely in Bill, but also in Tony's guitar solos. So there's certain scales that he'll play, certain ways that he'll approach. For instance, he might take one solo and play, limit it to just 5 notes. He'll add 6th note, just a particular one. And the way he approaches it, very jazzy. So there's things to listen to. But then they were interested in classical music. And you can hear it. Start with volume 4. Laguna Sunrise is a piece with guitar and orchestra. But even before that, even on the song Black Sabbath, when you do it live, you start with this little fingerstyle picking, which he called a little classical bit. It doesn't sound that classical, but the idea is that he was already thinking that way. And then by 1971, he wanted to go more that way and more jazz. And then you start to see a song like Spiral Architect with the orchestra, choir, and Superstar. There's within the genre of jazz, though, there's like Latin jazz. You hear that. Percussion instruments, the rhythm.
So there's was also some mention of progressive elements when I was speaking to someone else earlier, and in the sort of blurb to your talk in the schedule. What sort of progressive elements are they bringing into their music?
Well, the use of classical music is a big part of that. And so when you hear that in context of hard rock or heavy metal, as rock in general, you tend to hear it as progressive. So that fusion alone is it. Now, some of the things that you think of with prog and odd time features, exchange meters, you don't really do that until later. Because you don't hear Bill playing anything in standard 4. Even Superstar, the 9 actually, so it's quite strange. But he's not playing a rock beat, it's more like and so it's not until later you start to hear the odd time signature. But earlier on, the longer composed songs, and I don't mean like the long kind of jamming things, but multi-sectional songs, that's a part of prog. The idea of exoticism, using different scales. Tony and Jeff Nichols, people play trying different scales that sound Indian.
So you've written this book, Experience of Black Sabbath, like a listening companion to their music. A lot of people sort of just look at the first 10 albums from Black Sabbath, maybe 8, with also in the 2 that came afterwards. Are there any albums sort of outside of that period that you think people are overlooking?
All of them. Because, just chronologically, you got that. Born Again. People write it off, but it's a great album. Great songs. Bill's back in. And then you have Seventh Star, which began as a Tony Iommi solo project. Black Sabbath album. Really, all of that. Quite
So when obviously when you write a book like this, you dive really deep into sort of the music and immerse yourself into it. You know, how much stuff when you were sort of doing that intense listening process did you sort of experience for the first time?
A very surprising amount. I had listened to Sabbath so much time. And then kind of moved on into a different direction, got into progressive rock and more into jazz. And I kind of stopped listening to Sabbath once we weren't putting out new albums. Then when I came back to it many years later, then I started to notice all these things I never heard before. My ear was more developed. Especially when I went through the book, I figured I never heard that before. You also had a better sense when I was a teenager too. Yeah, that helped.
Yeah, so out of all these sort of things that you heard for the first time when you were working on the book, is there one thing that particularly stands out as, sort of a, whoa, this is something astounding that I've never even come across before?
Generally speaking, I would say how progressive and prog rock, like, very careful with it, particularly progressive sometimes.
Yeah.
But I would say how prog rock they really were. Because the narrative is always metal, first metal. Yeah. But people tend to forget all these other things that they did. And that's what really stood out. And that's what really encouraged me to give a paper at the first international conference in progressive rock. It was Black Sabbath at a Prague conference. On the same session was a guy giving a paper playing on Nick Ray. I think the title was like "It's Queen Prog." So it was like this, the fringes of fun. But any style of music, you study the edges. You learn more about it than because then you get to identify what is metal and what is prog.
So when you go to like a prog conference to talk about Black Sabbath, what's the sort of reaction like? Because within the walls of metal, just casual metal fans can be very sort of insular and like, that's not metal. And I was talking to someone else earlier about their own academic work where they took on music, where they bump into people saying, in the academic world, that's not properly part of this field or whatever. What sort of reaction did you have at a prog conference?
It was, wow, I had no idea that they did that. I had no idea that they played in this odd little head. People might know, Rick Wakeman played and that would be And so it's fascinating getting it to an album. Let's look back at Sabbath in different ways. And I never planned that Sabbath was prog, but are they progressive values in music?
So obviously there's a lot made of Sabbath's influence over heavy metal, but as you've listened to a lot of jazz and prog stuff, has any of that sort of thing taken influence from them after they absorbed some of those influences? No.
I think maybe in like fusion bands, almost using heavy metal, and as in other words, it's okay to use this music.
Yeah.
As throughout the years, certainly you'll have your traditionalists that would never do that.
Yeah.
But then you have bands like the Bad Plus, piano-based drums, acoustic. They play Iron Man, you can say it. I remember seeing them in Oakland at the Ocean. And in the jazz. Here's this jazz trio playing Iron Man.
That sounds pretty surreal, actually. I guess just wrapping up, is there anything that you've got coming up that you want to let people out there know about?
Not any certain events or anything, but I would definitely recommend checking out this book. And this is long. It goes through every single song that they recorded in the studio. So I don't give preference to one album over another, one era over another. And I hear from readers, there are people that do not like the Ozzy era, not the Dio era. They look at the chapters, for years. But hopefully they'll listen and read
Yeah.
and start to appreciate the Tony Martin.
Is that the best way to read the book then, with the albums playing as you read through it?
Yep. Hit play, read, pause, maybe rewind. Like, oh, and I have very specific time stamp. 2 minutes, 27 seconds. You can go. That way you can hear what I heard and wrote about. Hopefully that it'll make you notice things that you haven't noticed.
Well, thank you very much. It's been
Great.
a pleasure.